From the Republican side, is there any other discourse? Is there any other opinion other than that of Trump's and his focus on the southern wall?
Yeah. I think the Republican Party, and indeed the American political landscape, has changed on immigration significantly in the last 20 years. Or actually, let me go exactly back 23 years ago to 2001 and the September 11th attacks in New York City. At that moment, around that moment, the Republican president, George W. Bush, was meeting with the president of Mexico to discuss a plan that would include a legalization of workers, legalization of undocumented immigrants in the United States. And I mention that because the idea that one of the ways to address the problem of, or the issue, I should say, of undocumented immigration, one of the ways to do it is to have a legalization or an amnesty program, whatever you want to call it. And this was something that I mentioned George W. Bush because he was a Republican president, and I think that support for some regularization was very strong in both parties. Not strong enough to actually enact it at any moment after 1986. That was the previous large legalization. But the Republican president, Ronald Reagan, was very much a supporter and signed that bill. George W. Bush is a Republican, was a Republican president, very much supported this. Around the year 2008, the Republican presidential candidate was John McCain. John McCain had been a strong supporter of legalization. He turned against that type of solution and came to favor much more immigration enforcement in 2008. And ever since then, the Republican Party the part of the Republican Party that has been strong on immigration enforcement and less interested in regularizing the undocumented population and less interested in changing and expanding legal pathways. This more restrictionist Trump wing of the party has gained in its power within the Republican Party, really now to the point where the Republicans who maybe 15 years ago would have supported some type of regularization of workers, the more free market, Republicans on immigration, they've been shouted down, and they've really not had much of a foothold in the Republican Party, and so that now you have political polarization that I think that the Trump movement has benefited or tried to benefit very much politically from demonizing the immigrant. And it has crowded out the Republican Party that had supported legalization and more generally supported allowing people to come to the United States to help grow the economy.